Did you know that one of the vegetables sitting in your kitchen right now, something you've eaten your whole life thinking it's healthy, could quietly raise your risk of a stroke overnight? No warning, no pain. You go to bed feeling fine, and by morning, your speech is slurred, your balance is gone, or one side of your body won't move. As a brain doctor who has spent decades treating older adults, I've seen far too many seniors fall victim not to junk food, but to foods they believed were protecting them. Vegetables. Yes, vegetables. The very foods that were once healing your body can, after 60, begin working against you. What changed? Your body did. Aging slows your kidneys, stiffens your arteries, and alters how your blood handles sodium, sugar, and minerals. And when that delicate balance breaks, it triggers strokes and forms deadly clots in silence, sometimes overnight. Today, I'll expose 7 everyday vegetables that can quietly harm your brain, disrupt your circulation, and threaten your independence unless you know how to handle them wisely. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn may just save your life. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Spinach, the hidden vitamin K trap. If you're over 60, there's a good chance you've been told that spinach is one of the healthiest foods on earth. You've heard it since childhood. Eat your greens, they keep your heart strong. It sounds innocent, even wise. But what if this green superfood that's supposed to protect your brain and heart could actually trigger a stroke overnight? I know that sounds impossible, but as a brain doctor, I've seen it happen more times than I care to remember. Spinach is packed with vitamin K, a powerful nutrient that helps your blood clot properly. When you're young and your body is in perfect balance, that's a good thing. But as we age, especially once we cross 60, things change quietly inside us. Our livers process medication more slowly. Our blood vessels grow stiffer and more fragile. And many of us are prescribed blood thinners, drugs like warfarin or Coumadin, to keep clots from forming. That's where the danger begins. Vitamin K directly counteracts the effect of these medications. So if you eat large amounts of spinach, maybe a big salad, a smoothie, or sautéed greens with dinner, your medication suddenly can't do its job. Your blood begins to thicken again, circulation slows, and small clots start to form silently, like tiny grains of sand gathering in a stream. You don't feel it. You don't see it, but it's happening. And then, sometimes overnight, one of those clots finds its way to the brain. That's when everything changes. Your speech slurs, your vision blurs, one side of your body stops responding. A stroke has struck, quietly, cruelly, without a single warning. I'll never forget Mr. Allen, a 74-year-old retired engineer from Wisconsin, a gentleman with sharp wit and kind eyes. He took his medication faithfully every evening and started his mornings with a green smoothie packed with spinach, kale, and avocado because he wanted to live longer, stay strong for his grandchildren. For months, he felt fine. Then, one morning, his wife found him on the kitchen floor, his right side paralyzed, his mouth trying to form words that wouldn't come. The scan showed a blood clot lodged in his left middle cerebral artery, the kind of stroke that steals speech and movement in an instant. His blood work revealed dangerously high clotting levels. The cause wasn't bad medicine. It was too much vitamin K from the healthy greens he thought were saving his life. That's what makes this so frightening. It's not junk food or bad habits. It's something you thought was good for you. Something you've eaten for decades without a second thought. But after 60, even healthy foods can turn risky if you don't understand how they interact with your aging body and your prescriptions. So if you take blood thinners, talk to your doctor. Keep your intake of leafy greens consistent. Don't skip them for a week and then binge on spinach salad the next. Never drink large spinach smoothies without checking your INR levels, because while your heart needs balance, your brain needs stability. And too much vitamin K at once can quietly tip that balance, forming clots that no one sees coming. You might be thinking, if spinach can do that, what about other so called healthy vegetables? That's exactly where things get even more concerning, because the next one on the list doesn't thicken your blood. It can drop your pressure so low overnight that your brain simply can't keep up. Let's talk about that next. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number one below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number two. Two, beets, the blood pressure roller coaster. If you're over 60, chances are you've been told that beets are good for your heart, that they open up your blood vessels and improve circulation. You might even drink beet juice every morning, believing it's a natural way to lower your blood pressure and keep your brain sharp. But here's the truth. Very few doctors ever say out loud, for seniors, especially those already on blood pressure medication, beets can quietly push your body into a dangerous imbalance, one that can trigger strokes and form deadly blood clots while you sleep. You see, beets are rich in nitrates, natural compounds that convert into nitric oxide, which helps your blood vessels relax and your pressure drop. That's wonderful for a younger body that can quickly adjust. But in the aging body, the balance between blood flow and blood pressure becomes fragile. Your arteries stiffen with time, your heart doesn't pump quite as forcefully, and your brain, the hungriest organ in your body, depends on a steady stream of oxygen-rich blood to survive. When that stream slows down too much, even for a few minutes, brain cells begin to die. Now, imagine this. You've taken your blood pressure medication at dinner, and later you enjoy a glass of beet juice for your circulation. It seems harmless, even responsible. But together, the drug and the beet's natural nitrates may push your pressure far below what your body needs to keep blood flowing to your brain. While you sleep, your pressure drops even more. Your blood moves sluggishly through narrow vessels. And in that slowed, low-flow environment, blood begins to pool. It thickens. And that's when it happens. It forms clots. Tiny ones at first, silent, invisible. But when one of them travels to the brain, the result can be catastrophic. That's exactly what happened to Mrs. Jenkins, a 79-year-old retired teacher from Arizona. She prided herself on her natural lifestyle. No soda, no fast food, only whole grains and vegetables. Every night, she drank beet juice to keep her blood pressure down. Then, one morning, she tried to get out of bed and collapsed. Her vision spun, her words slurred. At the hospital, her pressure was dangerously low. The scans showed a small but devastating ischemic stroke in her cerebellum, the part of the brain that controls balance. The clot had formed during the night when her blood pressure dipped too far for too long. This is what I wish more seniors understood. Not all heart-healthy foods are brain-safe. When you combine foods that dilate vessels with medications that do the same, your circulation can slow so much that the blood itself becomes a risk. And once your brain's oxygen supply falters, the clock starts ticking. Neurons begin to die in minutes. Beets aren't evil. But for older adults, timing and moderation are everything. If you love them, eat small portions earlier in the day when your blood pressure is naturally higher. Never pair them with your medication or drink beet juice at night. And always tell your doctor if you're adding them to your diet. The same food that strengthens one person's heart can quietly steal another's mind. Because when your pressure falls too low, your brain doesn't rest. It gasps, it struggles, and in that silent struggle, clots are born. Now, if you thought beets were the only vegetable that can betray you, wait until you hear about the next one. A crisp, watery snack you've probably been told keeps you hydrated. But for seniors, it might actually dry out your brain and thicken your blood overnight. 3. Celery, the silent dehydrator. For decades, celery has been praised as the perfect diet food: crisp, refreshing, light, and full of water. You've probably seen it in every senior health magazine, labeled as a guilt-free snack that keeps you hydrated and supports heart health. But as a neurologist who has treated stroke patients for over 30 years, I can tell you this: for many older adults, that innocent-looking stalk can quietly create the exact conditions that trigger strokes and form deadly blood clots, often while you sleep. Celery acts as a natural diuretic. It makes your kidneys release water and sodium more quickly, which sounds good at first. It reduces bloating and lowers blood pressure. But if you're over 60, your body no longer regulates fluids the way it once did. Your blood vessels have stiffened, your kidneys filter more slowly, and your brain depends on steady hydration to keep blood flowing freely. The problem is, when you lose too much fluid, your blood becomes thicker, more like syrup than water, and that's when the danger begins. Now imagine this: you've taken your evening dose of a diuretic or blood pressure medication, you've eaten a few celery sticks as a late-night snack, and you head to bed feeling healthy. During the night, your body keeps releasing fluid, but you're not awake to drink water. As you sleep, your blood volume quietly drops, your circulation slows, and your brain receives less oxygen. In this thickened, slow-moving blood, clots begin to form. Tiny ones at first, often in the small vessels that feed the brain's most sensitive areas. By morning, the results can be devastating. You might wake up dizzy, your balance gone, your words tangled, or you might not wake up at all. I once cared for a patient named Mr. Raymond, 82, a retired carpenter from Florida. Every night before bed, he ate celery sticks with peanut butter, his healthy snack. He also took a mild diuretic for high blood pressure. One morning, his wife found him slumped in his recliner, unable to move his left arm. The scan revealed a small but life-changing ischemic stroke. His blood was thick, his sodium low, and his body severely dehydrated. The perfect storm had been building for weeks. He just didn't know it. This is why dehydration is one of the most underestimated stroke triggers in older adults. It doesn't take a hot summer day or physical exertion to dehydrate you. It can happen silently through something as simple as too much celery combined with age and medication. When your blood thickens, it doesn't flow freely. It lingers in clumps, and that's when clots form. Small, silent, lethal. Celery isn't bad, not at all, but it must be respected. If you enjoy it, eat it earlier in the day and balance it with water and electrolytes. Never eat large amounts of celery late at night, especially if you're on diuretics or blood pressure medications. And if you wake up often to urinate or feel dizzy in the mornings, that's your body whispering that it's losing too much fluid. Don't ignore that signal. It's your brain's quiet cry for help. Because at your age, even something as pure as water can turn into a threat when your body's balance shifts. And if you think celery is the only healthy vegetable with a dark side, wait until you hear about the next one. A leafy green so trendy it's called a superfood, yet it can quietly shut down your thyroid, slow your brain, and open the door to stroke without a single symptom. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Kale, the hidden thyroid suppressor. Kale, the crown jewel of modern health food. You see it in every grocery store, every smoothie bar, every anti aging cookbook. It's marketed as a miracle vegetable, loaded with vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants that promise to keep you young and protect your heart. But what if I told you that for many people over 60, this so called superfood could quietly disrupt your body's delicate balance, slow your brain, and even trigger strokes by creating the perfect conditions for blood clots to form? The truth is, kale isn't dangerous by nature, it's dangerous by ignorance. The older we get, the more fragile our internal systems become. Our metabolism slows, our organs work harder, and our hormone balance becomes easier to disturb. Kale contains natural compounds called goitrogens, which interfere with how your thyroid uses iodine. When the thyroid slows down, even slightly, your metabolism weakens, your cholesterol rises, and your circulation changes. Over time, your blood thickens, your arteries stiffen, and oxygen delivery to your brain becomes unstable. I've seen it countless times. Older adults who believe they're eating for longevity, when in reality, they're slowly setting the stage for vascular trouble. One of my patients, Mrs. Clara Hughes, 76, from Oregon, was one of them. She started every morning with a raw kale smoothie, spinach, kale, almond milk, and a scoop of protein powder. It's what all the health blogs say to do, she told me proudly. For months, she felt energetic. But then came the fatigue, the foggy thinking, the weight gain. She brushed it off as aging until one afternoon she stumbled in her garden, her right hand suddenly weak and uncoordinated. At the hospital, her thyroid hormone levels were alarmingly low, her cholesterol dangerously high, and imaging revealed a small ischemic stroke. The clot had formed in one of her carotid branches, a tiny blockage in the vessel that feeds oxygen to the brain. The underlying cause? A combination of thyroid suppression from years of raw kale smoothies and blood thickening from slowed metabolism. It didn't happen overnight, but when the body's balance finally tipped, it happened fast, and it changed her life forever. This is what I wish more seniors understood. Healthy is not the same as harmless. Your body at 70 is not your body at 40. The foods that once fueled you can now interfere with your hormones, your medications, and your blood flow in unpredictable ways. When your thyroid slows, your blood no longer moves like it should. It becomes heavier, slower, more likely to clot. And those clots, invisible and silent, can strike without warning. If you enjoy kale, don't give it up completely. Just be wise. Cook it lightly to reduce the goitrogen effect. Avoid daily raw smoothies. Get your thyroid checked regularly, especially if you feel sluggish, cold, or foggy, because the older you get, the smaller your margin for imbalance becomes. And sometimes even a superfood can become a silent threat. Kale may be green and vibrant, but when it quietly interferes with your thyroid, it sets off a chain reaction: slow blood, rising cholesterol, sticky arteries, and ultimately, the kind of clot that steals speech or memory in a single night. And if you think kale is the worst hidden danger in your kitchen, you might be shocked to learn that the next vegetable, something as ordinary as the canned corn or green beans sitting in your pantry, can raise your blood pressure, stiffen your arteries, and lay the groundwork for a stroke before you even taste the salt. 5. Canned vegetables, the sodium bomb. For many older Americans, canned vegetables are a symbol of comfort and simplicity. They remind you of easy meals, childhood dinners, and that familiar stocked pantry feeling of security. After all, vegetables are healthy, right? But what most seniors don't realize is that inside those bright labels and friendly slogans lies one of the most silent and overlooked dangers to the aging brain and heart: the kind of danger that doesn't make noise or cause pain until it does. The truth is, many canned vegetables are loaded with sodium, preservatives, and hidden chemicals that quietly raise blood pressure, strain the arteries, and in time, trigger strokes and form deadly blood clots. Here's how it happens. As we age, our blood vessels lose flexibility. The once supple walls of the arteries, designed to expand and contract, begin to stiffen like old rubber. At the same time, the kidneys, which used to effortlessly filter excess salt, become less efficient. So when an older adult eats a can of green beans, corn, or soup that contains 700 to 900 milligrams of sodium per serving, the salt doesn't just flush out, it stays, it builds up. And that extra sodium pulls water into the bloodstream, thickening the blood and putting immense pressure on the vessel walls. Over time, this combination of thick blood and stressed arteries sets off a chain reaction inside your body. Tiny cracks form along the vessel lining. The body rushes to repair them, and in the process, clots begin to form. You don't feel the damage, you don't sense it happening, but inside your brain, your arteries are fighting a silent battle between too much pressure and too little space. All it takes is one small clot, one blocked artery, and in seconds, everything you know, your memories, your speech, your independence, can be stripped away. I'll never forget Mr. Thompson, an 80-year-old widower from Michigan. After his wife passed, he began relying on canned meals for convenience. Green beans, canned soups, and vegetables were his comfort food. They're vegetables, he told me. They can't hurt me. But over time, his blood pressure crept higher. 160, 170, sometimes 180. He felt fine, maybe a little tired, until one morning his daughter found him in the kitchen, staring blankly, unable to speak. The scans showed a moderate ischemic stroke. His arteries were thickened and strained. His sodium levels were sky high. The culprit wasn't a fast food diet. It was the healthy canned food he thought was keeping him safe. For seniors, the danger of sodium isn't just about blood pressure numbers. It's about blood consistency. When salt draws fluid into the bloodstream, it makes blood denser, heavier, and more prone to clotting. When that thick blood moves through narrow, aging arteries, it slows down, sticks to vessel walls, and in some cases, clumps together. That's the perfect recipe for stroke: a slow, invisible buildup followed by a sudden catastrophe. And yet, many older adults continue eating canned vegetables every day, unaware that each bite adds another pinch of pressure to their arteries. You might feel fine today, but the damage is cumulative. The stiffness builds gradually until the day your circulation can't handle one more surge. If you love vegetables, there's a safer way. Choose low sodium or no salt added options whenever possible. Drain and rinse canned foods before eating. It can reduce the sodium content by nearly half. Better yet, stock your freezer with unsalted frozen vegetables. They last just as long and don't carry the same silent risks. And most importantly, if you have high blood pressure, heart disease, or are taking blood pressure medications, monitor your sodium intake daily. For seniors, even a single can of salted vegetables can push your body into dangerous territory without you realizing it. Remember, your brain depends on smooth, steady circulation, not the roller coaster ride that high sodium creates. Thick blood, stressed arteries, unstable pressure. These are the perfect storm for clots that form quietly and strike suddenly. Because in the end, stroke doesn't just happen because of one bad habit. It happens because of the small, repeated choices we make every day, the kind that feel harmless, like opening a can of vegetables. And if you think salt is the only hidden danger on your dinner plate, Wait until you hear about the next one. A comfort food so familiar it sits at nearly every American table. Yet, it can spike your blood sugar faster than candy and silently set off the chain reaction that turns sticky blood into a ticking time bomb inside your brain. 6. Potatoes, sugar in disguise. Few foods feel more American than the humble potato. Mashed with butter at Thanksgiving, baked with sour cream on Sunday, or fried crisp and golden at the diner down the street, it's comfort, tradition, and home on a plate. But for millions of older adults, this familiar favorite has quietly become one of the most dangerous vegetables on their tables. I say this as a doctor who has spent decades studying strokes. Beneath its wholesome image, the potato is a sugar bomb in disguise, and it can silently trigger strokes and form blood clots in aging bodies that can no longer process sugar the way they once did. The truth is, potatoes are starch, pure concentrated starch that quickly converts into glucose the moment you chew. One medium baked potato can raise your blood sugar faster than a can of soda. It's what nutritionists call a high glycemic load. For younger people with fast metabolisms, insulin surges quickly and clears that sugar from the bloodstream. But once you're past 60, your pancreas doesn't respond as sharply, your insulin sensitivity drops, and your blood sugar lingers longer. That lingering sugar is what quietly starts the chain reaction toward vascular damage. When your blood sugar spikes, the excess glucose sticks to proteins in your blood and vessel walls, a process called glycation. Over time, this thickens and inflames your arteries. The lining of your blood vessels, the delicate endothelium, becomes irritated, developing microscopic cracks. The body, always trying to heal itself, sends platelets and clotting factors to patch those tiny injuries. But as it does, it forms blood clots that can obstruct blood flow, especially in the brain's narrow vessels. It happens slowly, silently, without pain, until one day, the clot grows just large enough to stop the blood completely. That's when everything changes in an instant. I'll never forget Mrs. Linda Morris, a 70-year-old grandmother from Ohio, who believed she was eating healthy. Every evening, she baked a potato with her dinner, never fried, always plain. "It's just a vegetable," she'd say. But her blood sugar readings told a different story. They were spiking sharply after every meal. Then, one afternoon, while reading to her granddaughter, Linda suddenly dropped her book and slumped in her chair. She couldn't speak. She couldn't move her right side. A CT scan confirmed an ischemic stroke, a clot in her left middle cerebral artery. Her blood work showed high levels of inflammatory markers and blood thickening, the byproducts of chronic sugar surges from years of healthy potato meals. It's heartbreaking because she did everything right. No junk food, no sweets, just comfort food that turned out to be deceiving her. And that's the reality for so many seniors. The aging brain can't handle the same metabolic shocks it once could. Every spike in sugar thickens the blood a little more, stiffens the arteries a little further, and feeds the inflammatory cycle that makes clots more likely to form. Even mild insulin resistance, common after age 60, turns every large serving of potatoes into a biochemical roller coaster your body can't safely ride. So if you love potatoes, be smart. Don't eat them alone or in large portions. Pair them with protein, fiber, or healthy fat, chicken, beans, or olive oil to slow sugar absorption. Avoid instant mashed potatoes, French fries, and baked potatoes eaten without balance. Try smaller servings or switch to sweet potatoes, which release sugar more gradually. And remember, just because it's a vegetable doesn't mean it's harmless. Because when your blood sugar surges, your blood thickens. And when it thickens, it clots. Those clots don't always announce themselves. They wait in silence, building slowly in the vessels that feed your heart and brain. until one day they strike. And if you think sugar is the only hidden danger on your plate, wait until you hear about the next food, one that seems light, tangy, and refreshing. Yet, its acid and salt combination can quietly damage your arteries, strain your heart, and set the stage for the most unpredictable type of stroke. 7. Pickles and fermented vegetables, acid and salt, double trouble. There's something comforting about the sharp crunch of a pickle. For many older Americans, it's a taste that brings back memories. Family cookouts, summer lunches, a cold spear beside a sandwich. It feels refreshing, even cleansing. And with all the new talk about probiotics and gut health, it's easy to believe that pickles, sauerkraut, or kimchi are some of the healthiest foods you can eat. But here's the truth I've learned after decades as a neurologist. For seniors, especially those managing blood pressure or circulation problems, that simple pickle can quietly set off a dangerous chain reaction that triggers strokes and forms blood clots in the most vulnerable organ you have, your brain. The danger isn't in one bite. It's in what happens over time, especially when salt and acid meet the aging body. Pickles and fermented vegetables are loaded with sodium, often 800 milligrams or more per serving, more than a third of the daily limit in a single small portion. Salt at that level pulls water into your bloodstream, thickening the blood and forcing your heart to push harder with every beat. In younger adults, blood vessels can expand and flex to handle the pressure. But in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, your arteries have grown stiffer. Their inner linings are thinner, more fragile. Every surge in pressure stretches and irritates them like an old hose straining under too much water. Over time, those tiny irritations become microscopic injuries. The body tries to heal them, sending platelets and fibrin to form protective patches. But instead of healing, these patches become sticky, uneven surfaces where clots begin to form. It's slow, silent, and deadly. You won't feel it happening, but each salty meal is like adding one more layer to a hidden time bomb. Then, one night, a clot finally breaks loose, travels upward, and blocks a vessel in your brain. In seconds, speech slurs, balance vanishes, or vision fades, the classic signs of a stroke. And that's just half the problem. The acid in pickles and fermented foods can also cause subtle but dangerous issues at night. That tangy flavor you love comes from vinegar or lactic acid, which can irritate the stomach and trigger silent reflux, a condition many seniors don't feel because the burning sensation fades with age. But reflux doesn't stop at your stomach. Tiny amounts of acid can travel up into your esophagus and even your airways as you sleep. This irritates your vagus nerve, the same nerve that helps control heart rate and blood pressure. For some older adults, that irritation can cause overnight dips and spikes in blood pressure, unpredictable swings that stress the brain's delicate vessels. I remember Mr. and Mrs. Carroll, a couple in their late 70s from Pennsylvania. Every evening, they'd share a small snack before bed, a few pickles, a handful of pretzels, and a glass of water. It was their quiet ritual. One morning, Mrs. Carroll woke up dizzy and nauseous, her husband pale and slumped beside her, weak and disoriented. At the hospital, both showed signs of dehydration, severe sodium imbalance, and elevated blood pressure. Mr. Carroll had suffered a mild ischemic stroke during the night. The combination of sodium-induced thickened blood and nocturnal pressure spikes had been too much for his aging arteries. That's the cruel truth about foods like these. They don't kill you in a day, but they wear your system down, one small imbalance at a time. The sodium draws water out of your cells, the acid irritates your nerves, and the night brings slower circulation. The perfect conditions for a stroke to strike when you least expect it. If you love fermented foods, I'm not telling you to give them up completely, but be cautious. Choose low-sodium versions, eat small portions earlier in the day, and drink plenty of water throughout. Never make them a nightly ritual. Your heart and brain depend on stability, not extremes. Because when your blood thickens and your vessels strain, even a single pickle can be the last push your body can't handle. And if you think the danger ends here, think again. Because what's truly terrifying isn't any one vegetable on your plate, but how all of them together can silently conspire against your brain. In a moment, we'll uncover the deeper truth about how healthy habits can quietly turn into hidden stroke triggers, and what you can do starting tonight to protect your mind, your balance, and your independence for years to come. Final reflection: the truth about vegetables, aging, and protecting your brain. By now, you've probably realized that aging changes everything, not just how you look or feel, but how your body handles even the simplest foods. The vegetables you once believed were pure and harmless can, under the wrong circumstances, become quiet saboteurs of your health. The truth is painful, but it's also powerful. Once you understand how your body has changed, you can finally protect it. After 60, your blood vessels are no longer flexible rivers of life. They are fragile pathways that demand care and balance. Your kidneys no longer filter with the same precision. Your liver processes medications more slowly, and your brain, that extraordinary organ, depends on a delicate rhythm of oxygen and circulation to stay alive. Every bite you take, every sip you drink, either supports that rhythm or disrupts it. It's not about fear, it's about awareness. Because when blood thickens from dehydration, too much sodium, or sharp swings in sugar, it doesn't flow as it should. It slows, it sticks, it clots. And once those clots form, all it takes is a moment, one small blockage, one heartbeat to change everything you love. Your speech, your memory, your independence, gone in seconds. But here's the good news: the same knowledge that exposes these dangers can save your life. You don't have to give up the foods you love. You simply have to meet them where your body is today, not where it was 40 years ago. Eat vegetables in balance, not in extremes. Keep your hydration steady, your salt low, your sugar in check. Cook your greens lightly, avoid late night healthy snacks, and always talk to your doctor about what's on your plate. Because your food and your medicine are having a conversation inside you, whether you realize it or not. At this age, health is no longer about trends, it's about wisdom. You've lived too long, seen too much, to be fooled by fads or fear. What matters now is clarity. Know your body, listen to it, and respect the changes time has brought. Because your brain is listening to every bite, every sip, every choice. Feed it with care, feed it with understanding, and most of all, feed it for the future you still deserve. Clear-minded, strong, and present for every precious moment that remains. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with one. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.